Okay, so got another quick little video here. I wanted to demonstrate something. These are inexpensive OTFs made in like, I don't know, Taiwan or something supposedly. And supposedly this one is made in Italy, supposedly. It says AKC. This is an AKC F16. I don't know if I believe that this is made in Italy. I got a feeling it was actually made in Taiwan because its guts sure look an awful lot like this knife and this knife as far as how the switchblade functionality works and how the locks work. The springs and all that stuff look almost identical. I got a feeling they're all made in the same place, just slightly different designs. And I'm not saying that these are bad knives. I like these knives. I just did a video I've not yet uploaded, but I'm going to be uploading later on tonight maybe, talking about these knives and the features and how much I like them. And there's really very little to dislike about them. But if you want to see more in-depth information, I have an in-depth video over this one, and then I have an in-depth video over these two, kind of going over an unboxing, which was nothing more than pulling them out of this plastic that they came in today. So now, one complaint that I have over all three of these is that they have this springy, twangy feel when the blade is going out or coming back in. You can almost kind of hear it too. It's thing, thing. I don't know if the microphone's picking up on that. I'm actually holding the knife up against the phone case to see if that vibration's passing through. Yeah, you can feel the vibration. You can hear it and you can feel it. At least I can, and it makes it not feel as quality. And on this knife, it was bad. You can hear it. And the more I played with the knife, which was pretty much been a constant thing, the more it got worse, or the more I noticed it, because I was getting less. Maybe I was getting used to what was going on here, and I was starting to pick up on the little details. Maybe I wasn't catching it first. I try to come up with a way to fix that noise, and I believe I have a solution. And oh my goodness, I forgot the main ingredient. But that's okay. I'm still going to be able to demonstrate what it takes to do this. I can't believe I forgot that stuff. Anyways, the solution I have found is basically you take this knife apart, and I'm going to show you what I did on this knife. And I believe this is a Torx. It doesn't say. Of course it doesn't say. Anyways, I got the little Torx driver here, and we're going to take this poor guy apart one more time. I actually overdid it on this knife, and I had to go back and remove some of the grease. So this is held together with three screws, and the did I say 3 screws? I meant to say 6. We just take this guy apart here, and I've seen some people say that you should never take these apart, if you're never going to back together right. I disagree. Now, I've always been technically inclined in pretty much everything since I was pretty young, so I've always been comfortable with this. I've taken TVs apart, computers apart, vehicles apart, whatever. I guess I've just always been that way. So, anyways, not only did I overdo the grease and then had to remove some of it, but I also overdid the Loctite, because I highly recommend you Loctite these screws, because there's a lot of shock with that springing out of the blade. over and over and over, if you do like I do, you're shocking it back. You're shocking it back and forth constantly, and I'm referring to this shock, the shock of the blade snapping out. It's kind of jarring. I mean, it's not uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to go flying out of your hand. It doesn't have that much energy, but there is a little bit of a vibration and shock to it. So I'm going to pry this apart. Now, normally it would just fall apart, but I put too much Loctite on there, so I'm just going to stick just a tiny something in there to break it loose. There we are. Now, you can see that this started to pop out. This started to pop out loose, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and take this off. That's your thumb slider switch, and then we're going to lift this off here. Okay, and then this comes out. Now, I have found that essentially what's going on here is this mechanism. Boy, my back is hurting hovering over this camera like this. Essentially, here's the knife blade inside the handle, and you have a lock here in the front, and then you have a lock here in the back. And it's just got a little spring pushing the lock out. Okay, and that locks things into position. So right now, there's a ledge that we can't see. I wonder if I put this down and zoom in, use the digital zoom, if that'll be any better. Might be a little more sturdy. So as you can see, it's maybe down in here you can see that something is catching on the edge of this lock. Okay, so essentially what's going on here is this device is where the noise is being made, and all you need to do is just put a little bit of oil. I'm sorry, not oil. Don't do oil. Oil is what I did. I did JB Weld, no, not JB Weld, PB Blaster, and I think I used too much and it was seeping out, and I think some of it got into the adhesive that holds this material onto this 3M double stick label that, I don't know, you can call it grip tape or something, I don't know. So don't do what I did. Do this. This seems to be a good solution. So I found that the best way to, I'm not going to really demonstrate how the knife works here at the moment. I'll probably have another video demonstrating that. You can see I've got Loctite. I had it everywhere. I put way too much on. I don't know what I was thinking. But there it's locked into the outward position. So we push this lock up. That's a little tiny lock. Little tiny guy. So remember that when you're stabbing this into a zombie's skull, how tiny the little lock is. Just be aware. Does that make sense? What's going on there with the locks? Now it's locked. Okay, so anyways, what I like to do is put it in between. It doesn't necessarily need to be exactly in between, just anywhere where it's not locked, okay? And then we're going to put this piece back on. This is actually what you slide. And this also creates the tension. And this slide also unlocks the knife. You could see what's going on here. This goes, and it depresses that lock back here, and up here in the front. We are, let's see here. And back here, this piece is unlocking the front lock. The front lock is what keeps the knife out, deployed. The lock back here is what keeps the knife in the handle. And then this thing slides back and forth, and unlocks one and then gets out of the way so that this one can be locked, and then vice versa, back and forth. Okay, so we're just going to set this into position like so. You can see this is how much movement we have. I did put a little bit of grease on this track because this piece, I put a little bit of grease here. Focus, please. Because we have metal on metal, it was just bare metal on metal. There was no lubricant. I added a little bit of lubricant, and it feels smoother now. And we're going to go ahead and put this back here. Slide this back here. It's not quite right. There we are. It should be nice and smooth and flat, like so. And again, we're still able to slide. We're in Never Never Land where it's not engaged, okay? And basically, this piece goes up here like so. You got a little notch. It will be like so, okay? Now we're ready to put it back together. But these knives these springs are they're dry. And all I did was I added just a little bit of grease. And then I rubbed the grease in. Actually, I added too much grease, and I came back and took some of the grease out. Because I do think that having too much grease in there was taking away some of the springiness of the spring. It wasn't as snappy as it was. So I took some grease out. And now what we're left with is there's a film of grease in between each coil of those springs. So when they snap back closed, it's not quite a shocking snap. We have the same energy coming back. In my opinion, we have the same energy coming back, but we've also coated them so that they can't vibrate as much. I mean, imagine like a dinner bell, and you dunk the dinner bell in, well, anything, a coat of rubber, grease, whatever, and then you ring the bell. It's not going to be as loud. So that's essentially what I've done here. So we're going to put it back together. I'm going to point something out here. We do have, I don't know what you would call this, where they've machined in, where the screws, maybe I'm not going to use the right words here. I'm not a machinist. I don't know the word. But you can see that these are raised up a little bit. All 6 of the screws. Okay? Screw holes. And what that does is that gives us a little more strength with this piece. Because where it's raised up, it kind of, I don't know, do you call that countersunk holes or something? So this kind of snaps into position just right. So I'm going to go ahead and piece this back together. And again, the secret is to put just a little bit of grease on these springs, just a little bit of grease, and it will dampen that noise down considerably. So, and I think the tricky part here is what I'm showing, and that's that don't try to take this apart or put it back together with it loaded or ready to be fired one way or the other. I think do it with it misaligned or misfired or whatever the word is people are using. So we go ahead and put this on like so, and I can hold it firmly in my hand. What the this damn thing. And I can go ahead and try it. Pull it out, that engages it, and then yeah, so we're good. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in. Be careful not to drop these. You're going to have a hard time finding these at a local hardware store, would be my guess. So I'm going to get all 6 of them in there and We'll get them snugged, and then we'll come back and get them tight. It probably doesn't super matter with those offset machine aspects of how it was built or milled or made, wherever the correct word would be. So let's get that last one in there. Can't believe I didn't bring the grease home. So I don't know what the foot-pound torque of that is. I'm putting them in under pretty good tension. I mean, I'm just about giving it my all, to be honest with you. Having screws come loose is the worst, and it's also just as bad when you can't find screws for these things. So anyways, there's that. We are firing just as we should, in and out, and now we're significantly quieter. We don't have that springy, twangy feel or sound. So I'm very happy now. This one still needs it done. I didn't bring the freaking grease home to do it. So anyways, that's that.